They had this big tech hearing on monopolies earlier today, and a lot of people are really disappointed in basically everybody.
Of course.
Yeah, all the politicians are just, they're unable to actually do anything. And I look at it and I'm like, what I was saying before the show, we were talking about it, and I was like, I think that people who get into politics are the people who aren't skilled enough to actually make it on their own in a meritocracy, but they are smart enough to be a puppet for certain industries. So if they need the money to get elected, they can, yeah, sure, I'll adopt whatever cause you want me to adopt. And this is Democrats and Republicans alike. It's like, what's that? Pro-life and pro-gun? Sure, I'll say whatever you want me to say. Hire me and then I'll get paid. Whereas you wonder why it is that the talented, intelligent people who know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, won't do it. Well, it's because they're going to go start a business and make tons of money.
Yeah.
Who would want to go work in politics? It's extremely expensive, very difficult to win. It is brutal. Everyone hates each other, and you don't even get paid that much. The amount of effort you got to put in to get into office, you end up with people like AOC.
Well, why are they all so rich then?
Well,
old money. So we got
a lot of them. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got a bunch of old money people controlling everything. I
Sounds
don't
about
like
right.
that. I don't like that. I don't. I think we need a big, huge boost of a younger generation in politics.
Yes.
Period.
There have been moments of upheaval in Congress where like all the incumbents get booted out.
Really?
Yeah.
How many times does that happen?
I don't know. I don't think that many, only a couple.
Wow.
There was one, I think, there was a chart I was looking at of like Democrat versus Republican overlap.
Okay.
And they used to overlap quite a bit. Now they're extremely far apart. But in the chart, you could see weird gaps. And then they pointed out, it was like the New York Times, I think, saying like at this point, the overwhelming majority of incumbents were voted out.
Wow.
It was like the American people revolting and saying, everybody, that's the best thing about our government is that there can actually be a revolution in the sense that every single politician in office can be removed within a couple of years, 2 to 4 years, or 6.
Let's do it. Let's
get
rid of them all.
But it's not necessarily that simple, right?
Nothing is. I fully agree with you.
I think the issue is not so much incumbents. I think it's not enough people care.
That's also another problem.
So you end up
add one more problem to the list of what is wrong with the society we live in.
Yeah, but look at Mackenzie Bezos.
Okay.
She just dumped $1.7 billion into social justice organizations, like full-on intersectionalism, because she cares. And I'm sitting here like, man, there's how do you compete with that level of cult power? Almost $2 billion being dumped into the cult.
Well, I mean, there was a large chunk of that went to minority schooling, and that I have no problem with. I mean, I don't know where all the money's going, but I did see that there is a large chunk that's going to minority communities, and I'm okay with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I have concerns about the power of billionaires to influence everything around us.
That's a good point.
Especially when they're all pushing the same thing, like open borders,
yeah,
and things like that, and intersectionalism. Because intersectionalism is reactionary and it wants to revert this country back to an identitarian rule of law. We got rid of all that stuff.
Yeah.
We used to have laws based on race, and we're like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Why? Because, we got a bunch of immigrants who live here. Now that money is going to go towards that kind of ideology and spreading it, even probably with many of those schools. So like, how do you compete against that when most people don't care and just sit back? I guess then that's just how the change happens.
We got to fix our schools. That's something that I've been very, very firm about for over a long time, actually, since I was younger, since I was in school, and I was like, why are we learning this? What is this? What is this? This isn't important. I mean, I think I've had a conversation about that with almost everybody that I went to school with. And you think about what we're learning, what they're teaching. We see these teachers are teaching how racism exists. It's like, why aren't we teaching that racism is a past tense thing? Like, we gotta teach to the future, not teach to the past.
Because the teachers are in the cult.
I know, exactly.
That's
another thing that we got to do. Add another problem to the list.
They're teaching the 1619 Project.
Yeah, that's messed
up. And the woman who wrote it just admitted it's not even a work of history.
Wow.
She said it was a narrative memory or something, some weird. She's like, it was never meant to actually be historical. It's just an origin story. And it's like,
yeah, right.
What? What does that even mean?
You knew exactly what you were doing when you set that in motion.
The New York Times, you can see the moment they gave up and decided to just become BuzzFeed with a thin veneer of academia.
Right.
And so they're like, hey, if it offends people and will get us clicks, go for it. CNN does the same thing. I mean, come on. CNN brought on Jeff Zucker. He's literally NBC's reality TV guy. Yeah, he was like, I got an idea. Let's turn the news into reality TV.
Yeah.
And CNN was like, great, if it makes money. All of these people in all of these institutions are basically saying, we're going to watch the whole thing burn to the ground and extract as much as we can while it happens. And that's what I'm seeing now as they pump out more money in stimulus, more money. And I tell you what, I see these memes, right? There's a meme going around where it's like, if you're upset that your neighbor is getting $600 a week from unemployment, you should really be mad at the employers, your employer, for not paying you more money. And I'm like, if the government guarantees 100% of your wages plus $600, there's literally no circumstance in which any business could compete with that, because no matter how much you pay, they'll get $600 more.
Yeah.
Now, there is an unemployment cap, I think, but they said 100%. I don't know exactly how it works. The point is, man, they're printing out money. They're watching the whole thing burn to the ground, and they don't care. They don't.
No.
Because they're super rich. That's it. When they talk about abolishing the police,
They don't care. They can hire a security team.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you see people like Mackenzie Bezos, who's dumping all this money into all of these programs and everything, some of which apparently are in favor of abolishing and defunding the police. That woman is going to want, she will never want for anything again. She could hire 10 times the private security. In fact, you know what the craziest thing is? If you're rich enough, you can hire security who literally breaks the law for you. So like, I've seen videos where people have international private security. They'll punch a cop in the face. No, straight up.
Wow.
I can't remember which video I was watching where the cops were like trying to move through and the private security shoved the cops. Nope. They get paid way too much. They're like, I get paid mid six figures to do the security job, and I got the best lawyers in the world. You ain't stopping me. You're a beat cop making $27,000 a year. So you get someone with $60 billion in hard assets, mind you, who can convert that. They're going to have 10 layers of security guards, and you're not going to be able to do anything against that. You defund the police, no one's going to be able to come and arrest them for anything.
Sounds corrupt.
Yikes.
Yeah, man. This is what I feel like as of late. There's a lot of elites that know that everything's crumbling. You know, they don't care. They don't.
No,
like,
they're already set up.
Definitely. And what have we seen? Metals have been spiking. People are buying up silver and gold like crazy.
Yep.
They're buying up properties in the middle of nowhere, Montana, Idaho, Iowa, houses under 400K. There's articles popping up all over the place warning the dollar collapse is imminent. Whether or not that actually is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And talk of war, coin shortages. And I look at what the politicians are doing, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure when all of these people with pitchforks and torches start screaming, print more money and just give it to me, the politicians are like, well, it's burning down, whatever. I'm not going to do what needs to be. I'm not going to do what needs to be done. I'm just going to do whatever I feel like, just because it's the end.
A small sliver of them are saying that. Yeah, sure.
Politicians?
No. The people that scream, print more money, give it to me.
It's not a small percentage, dude. It's massive.
What's the percentage?
When you have every single progressive activist and all of their followers, I mean, we're talking about probably all of the Democratic voters saying print more money. What we're saying with print more money is, I want $600 a week plus 100% unemployment. They're saying things like cancel rent, forgive loans. They're saying things like pay off all student debt, which is trillions of dollars. They already printed, 6 to 8 trillion or something? Yeah, most of the people on the left are saying just print. And there's a meme now, money printer go burr, because they're just cranking out money. You know what that leads to?
Venezuela?
Yes. Yep. Man, I was in Venezuela. Let me tell you guys. We had stacks of cash in big black garbage bags. And you would want to buy like a slice of pizza, if you could even find, an arepa. There you go. It's like avocado and chicken. It's really delicious, actually. And you hand a big old stack of cash. Big, massive stack. They shovel it into piles. That's how worthless it is.
Yep.
And that's what happens when they just mass print money. So I'm concerned about what's going to happen. But I'll tell you what.
Well, the great meme lord, Elon Musk, he stated just the other day that the left is losing the middle.
Yep.
And he's right.
And I can't, these polls, man, I can't believe it anymore.
Nah, I don't either. I never did believe him. I just use my gut. I have strong instincts, and most Americans are seeing this, and they're like, this is insanity. This doesn't make any sense.
But what happens if they
cheat an election?
But I'm not even going to do that because I just told you I don't believe that. That isn't the case.
That they're going to cheat an election.
Oh, they'll try. I mean,
Right.
But I don't think they're going to succeed. Too many people want Trump to win. Too many people think that he's like the answer to counter all of this because he's going after them all.
I guess the thing is, are the pollsters and everything? I do believe at this point I really do think they're lying.
I think they're calling each other.
But the weird,
Hey, who are you voting for? Well, I'm voting for Biden. Well, who are you voting for? I'm voting for Biden too. All right, the poll's complete. No one else. We need to ask. Boom, Biden's in the win. It's like,
well, I think
no.
I think their methodologies are completely broken beyond what they even recognize.
Yep.
And I think it's because they've the internet world is a new thing. I mean, look, Obama was the first president to use Facebook for campaigning.
Interesting.
That was one president ago. One.
Wow.
So people don't realize that social media's influence and cell phone technology's influence
Yep.
is literally only with Donald Trump.
Well, that's why he's pushing the FCC to reform 230.
Yep. Yeah. So when did touch cell phones start to become ubiquitous? 2007.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure.
When we started getting phones that could actually browse the internet. I remember, man, back in like 06, I'm skateboarding and I had a candy bar phone with garbage mobile internet you could barely do anything with.
Yeah.
Then the iPhone came out and it was extremely low resolution, but it had browsers. Then Obama was president for 2 terms. And throughout that, cell phones rapidly evolved. Donald Trump becomes president at a time when the internet had become substantially more influential.
True.
This is like, we're still in the Model T era of internet's influence.
That's very right. You're absolutely right. We are still babies in the someone, I don't remember who said this, but it is essentially, well, you said the Model T, but it's like the original telephone. You know, when we are first able to actually communicate far distances, like that was amazing for the human race, like what we were able to do. And we skyrocketed. Look at the the technological advances we've made. So now the internet is the telephone 2.0 for the human race. So we're really not even, we don't even know that what it's doing to our brains, being able to
Definitely
be
breaking them.
We're changing them, not breaking them. We're changing. We are evolving, very quickly.
I mean,
People are getting used to the internet. It's becoming very second nature to just be like, well, let me just look it up, Google it. Oh, I hate that term, but it's like it's become so, second nature for people to just say that. Oh yeah, just Google it, and you whatever. You don't even need to use Google, but now it becomes this thing. Well, I could just look up anything I was thinking about right now. I can check it out and look it up, and boom, now I'm suddenly that much more enlightened.
There's a couple really important things that I'm trying to find real quick that break down when the big shift in the internet occurred. And there was a scientist who rejected, he refused to do an interview with the New York Times. Why can't I find this? Where is it at? And the reason he said is that it's basically the whole point about how they've become BuzzFeed. They decided they got rid of actual objective journalism.
Yeah.
I can't seem to find it on my timeline. I don't know how long ago it was. It
Oh,
wasn't
man.
that long ago.
It's hard searching through.
I know, man.
hate searching Twitter.
It's
Oh,
not even
hello.
popping up.
Oh,
Oh,
well.
that was annoying. Well, I do have this one tweet right here. And it's, Zach Goldberg tweeted this. The New York Times, white people percentage and racism percentage. And you can see how they track.
Wow.
Yeah. So this
2012.
So here's what I said. Facebook incentivized shock content like police brutality videos. Blogs started to take notice at what worked better and ran with shock content and justice videos. The more keywords stuffed into a post, the farther it would reach. The New York Times took notice and adapted accordingly. So this is what I think the internet has done. It's hyperpolarized everybody.
Yep.
Now you've got people who are enraged. There's the rage tribe, and that's the left. They are just their identity is anger.
Yep.
It's crazy when somebody will tweet at me something like all these nasty things about me, and I try to respond politely or in an engaging way, and the only reaction they can have is spewing acid at me.
Yep.
So there was a viral post we talked about the other day at the Bill Barr hearings, where this one congresswoman was like, "Bill Barr, how did you not know about these men with guns, showing up with Confederate flags?" I responded to this female journalist. I said, "But they were on state property, right? Weren't they?" That's all I asked. And her response was, "Debate me, you coward." And I was like, what? What?
Wait, what?
Why?
Disproportionate.
Yeah, I was confused. Why are you insulting me and why are you asking me to debate? I've never debated anybody. I've done like discussions. I don't consider myself to be a great debater at all. I wouldn't do it. And then all of a sudden, everyone responded with insults, name calling, just psychotic behavior. The same thing happens whenever I tweet at David Pakman or Kyle Kalinske. And that's why I'm like, I'm not even going to do it. Kyle Kalinske will tweet something and I'll tweet something that's like in furtherance of the conversation. And I'll get 1,000 tweets of just swears, cusses, slurs. And I'm like, that's what the internet, that's how I see the left, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like they've polarized everybody who is saturated in the internet. So you're either one side or the other side now. They've really like split us. And this is what I don't think they're taking into consideration. Not everybody's on the internet. Most of Americans were alive and prospering before the internet became such a massive thing that we're now discovering. It's like, this is a new generation that we're seeing. That's why all the people that are out there, throwing bombs and complaining are a younger group. Like, it seems like they're all in their mid-20s, coming out of college, maybe early 30s, I don't know. But it's like they were raised on the internet and that exact graph shows that they were affected by that, so they're polarized. Of course, they're so angry, but most people are not. Most people are like, what are they doing? They're crazy. Use your brains.
Rasmussen actually published something recently because Donald Trump tweeted about Twitter's bias and all that.
Okay.
Rasmussen replied by showing that in a poll they did, the 18 to like 35 or whatever is very likely to be influenced by social media in terms of politics or somewhat. And all other demographics were like not really that much.
That's exactly what I would have guessed.
Right. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
What I was saying, yeah.
So, well, here's the danger. This is, I think, why big tech wants to skew everything as hard to the far left as possible. Mm-hmm. Because what's going to happen is, as I've long explained, I just took the 8 values test. It's a political alignment test. And guess what? Tim Pool is a liberal. That's what it said.
Weird.
Centrist liberalism. That's what I've long said.
Classic liberal.
Not classic liberal.
No?
No.
New age
liberalism. Not neoliberal. General old liberalism.
Not far leftist.
Classical.
Explain that then. Explain
So
that. What does that mean?
Classical liberalism is more towards the free market than I am. I'm more mixed economy.
Okay.
So this is what liberals were 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, classical liberal is a reference to like John Locke and like old school. So classical liberal would refer to like a center-right position, libertarian position.
Okay.
Social liberal is center left, which is probably closer to where I am, but general liberalism. So,
I mean, our country is a liberal country, right? Isn't it based on
in the true sense of the word,
Yeah.
Not the colloquial sense of the word.
Okay.
But anyway,
it seemed to be changing quite often. Now it's just the crazy left are the liberals, like libtards.
But this is the point.
Come on.
If when the far left says they're centrists, and they've been saying it over and over again, it's absolutely not true. It's an attempt to shift the whole wheel so that someone like me, who's actually center left, will become right wing and they'll become center. That's how I've long described it. Tucker Carlson did a debate with Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, and they agreed on a whole bunch of things about economic policy. But they will call him far right. In what sense is he far right?
Yeah, someone called me far right yesterday, and I was like,
"Wait, where? What?
What?" Someone on Twitter, and I'm like, it's like, do you watch a show? Do you realize that I'm pretty centered? I saw a truck with a massive "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Yeah,
it was massive. Yeah, the Gadsden flag. It was cool to see.
It's a symbol of
Side
liberty
note,
and freedom.
Just wanted to throw that in the air.
But this is what I've long said. If you're someone who has traditionally been liberal, if you agreed with Bernie Sanders in 2015, you are far right. No joke. Bernie Sanders said no to open borders several times, no to free trade several times. The World Socialist website called Bernie Sanders a nationalist capitalist.
That's right.
And they were right. They were. Bernie Sanders believed in a welfare state, but in a capitalist market to sustain it. And he believed in protecting our borders, ending free trade deals, and slowing immigration.
I liked him in 2016.
And they called him a national capitalist.
Wow.
And then, but once it got into 2016, he started to adopt more of these weird intersectional establishment policy ideas. Open borders, for instance. You know what I think happened? Bernie Sanders said in 2015, open borders is a Koch brothers proposal. It's a far right proposal. Then Donald Trump won on the Republican side. And the never Trumpers, those people Bernie Sanders were criticizing, jumped over to the Democrats and said, we're with you. And so all of a sudden the Democrats started adopting that establishment politic. So you know what I think? The Democrats today are a weird mixture of Republican establishment refugees and Democratic establishment
refugees.
Right.
Also,
well, they're being attacked by the far left.
Because there's a lot of Democrats that, I mean, I considered myself a Democrat for a long time. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing politically, you know, so, but I know a lot of people that I'm talking to now that they're coming to me, and like actual friends of mine, they're like, well, what's up? Why don't you explain yourself to me? What about this? What about this? What about this? Because I'm a Democrat and I don't understand why this, and this. And I'll straight up talk through all of them, and they're like, wow, I agree with you on all of those things. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's once you know the truth, once you see what's actually going on, it's fairly straightforward.
I was talking to Crowder.
Yeah.
And I said, look, man, and this was months ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. Stephen Crowder, for those unfamiliar. He's a conservative comedian. And I was saying things like, I've always considered myself like a left-leaning independent, and I favor Democrats on a lot of issues. Never really paid attention much to what the Republicans are all about. Never really agreed with them. And then he asked me about pro-life and pro-choice. And I said, right, this has become a real problem for me. Because I grew up Catholic on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And then my family, around the time I was like 11 or 12, just totally like got away from the church and became more agnostic than anything. But still, regular Americans, at least as far as my family was concerned, on the south side, being Chicago Democrats, thought that being pro-choice meant, what is it, like safe, legal, but rare. Like abortion should not be something you celebrate. And
or something that you use as like a
prophylactic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
oops, got pregnant, better go to the doctor.
Yeah, like that's gross. You know, it's like a last resort as like how you just described it.
It was supposed to be in extreme circumstances. That's what it was like growing up in Chicago, which is blue. And you know what they tell me today? Well, Chicago has always been conservative Democrat. That you're admitting it. And I'm like, dude, Chicago is one of the Democrat strongholds, period, that will never change. I mean, maybe it'll change because of Trump.
I think it's changing, man. I definitely think so.
Well, so here was the problem that I brought up. I'm talking to Crowder about it. And I'm like, look, man, I'm pro-choice for sure, but I definitely agree with Tulsi Gabbard, who she said there should be limits up to the third trimester, and there's got to be some kind of line that we can compromise on.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why I was like, I like Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Now she's out, and what's the position? What did Michelle Wolf say?
I don't even know.
It's no longer pro.
It's gross now.
It's no longer pro-choice. It's pro-abortion.
Yeah, basically.
And Crowder was like, the Republican side right now is negotiating certain exemptions. That's way better than just them being like, go for it, right? And I'm like, I guess, yeah. So what's happening is the far left has moved so far left that the closest thing I could consider is someone who's to the right of me, because the far left is gone.
Yep, can't even see him anymore.
Exactly. It's like you got to climb up really, really high and look. Is that them over there? Look, they're falling off the cliff. That's where we're at. Of course, they say the opposite, but I'll tell you what, man. I read the news all day, every day. If they're claiming right now they won in Portland when they're agreeing to the terms of the DHS, and the DHS is saying we're not going to leave,
you got schooled, or what did he say to him?
Something like that. Whatever.
You got. No, we won. What are you talking about?
In a delusional, fake reality.
They do, clearly.
Where they have these Democratic politicians saying we won, everyone, and they're like, yay, and then it's like, but they didn't. They still can't accept that Trump won. They've been screaming nonstop about it
since
for years.
2016. Surprise, he's the president. When are you going to get that in your head?
It's the weirdest thing to me that there was a meme that said, Trump is your president, because people were saying, not my president. So the right responded with, yes, he is. And I'm like, why is it so hard to say Trump's your president? I was like, I didn't vote for him. I wasn't a fan of him.
Yeah, you can say you don't
my
like
president.
him. He's still the president. Like,
it's so weird.
He still got there. He still is there.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.